Hello and welcome to Out of England. These are segments that we do on NDTV, often within the Asian community, asking the questions that really matter to our community here in the UK. Now, in my backdrop, you can see the Sri Swaminarayan Temple here in Kingsbury. What a beautiful building. And this is a really newborn temple. You know, the latest temple to be added to a list of a lot of temples across the UK. And that's why we thought it interesting to come and speak to all of the people who have made this possible. And I'm standing here with 4 people who have really contributed a lot and are really kind of energetic and spirited volunteers who have come down here on a Sunday and giving their time to this project. Tell me, why are you here? What kind of drew you to this project?
I think for me, it's the single item that unifies all of us within this community is our love and devotion to our spiritual leader, Sri Muktijivan Swami Bapa and Acharya Swami Sri.
So that's one thing that really kind of, drew you. How are you contributing?
For me personally, it's lots of man hours in planning, in preparation, and also in the building works to erect the temple.
And when you say building works, what does that mean?
A lot of the material came from India, so manual offloading of all of the intricate architecture, anything that we can do, any kind of labouring work, any cleaning up, we all contribute in our own way.
Okay, so this is a really kind of newborn temple, just born, I should say, real infant. Tell me, in terms of your contribution, what have you contributed? And tell me, why did you think it important that you wanted to come down here and make a contribution to build this temple in your community?
So as one of the young members of this congregation, I've grown up with the temple community. It's at the heart of everything that I do. I love being a British-born Indian, so I call myself a Brindian. I get the boast of both worlds, essentially. And the temple, essentially, is where I've formed lots of my relationships, both in terms of friends, family. And for me, it's great to give something back to the community. It's not just about creating a community, but to also give back. And one of our key messages for the Mahotsav is to inspire the community, and that's what we plan to do.
Okay, this is really interesting. Tell me a bit, reflect for me a bit about this thing about, temple being a real focal point for people to come meet each other. Lots of people have told me over the many years that I've met a lot of people here that they found their spouses in a temple.
Absolutely.
They've oftentimes it's kind of through the auntie network where they say no, you must come along and meet so and so. And it's a real apart from just the religious aspect of this is not only religion, is it?
Absolutely not. So I mean,
what's that?
That still happens.
Okay.
So I did meet my spouse within the temple, which is great.
There you go. There you go.
But it's not just about the religion. We do lots of other activities, which is actually what keeps people involved. So that ranges from sports to charity to lots of extracurricular. So I've learned a huge amount of skills that help me outside of the temple life, that kind of make me more advanced in what I do for a living. So the temple's not just about the religion, but about what makes you a good individual, a rounded individual.
This is an eco-temple. Is that? This is what I've been told. What is the meaning of an eco-temple?
Eco, basically, there's a lot of sustainable regeneration. Obviously, Jazz, she's our expert in eco. We have solar panels on this system, which generate a lot of electricity. We've got CHP, which is a combined heat and power, which produces electricity, and the byproduct of that, it actually heats our water system up, which provides hot water, which is basically free hot water because it's just a byproduct of that. We've also got all the rain we've been getting lately. We've got a big rainwater harvesting tank. It's about 170,000 litre tank, and that's used for flushing all our toilets and urinals. So we're
and somebody joked before we started rolling camera that the flush will still work if it's not going to rain.
That's correct. So if we've got a big drought, we've still got a big tank which will still that will help us. Yes.
Okay. Tell me your best aspect, your favorite aspect about this temple.
I don't know, I just want it to be something that all the younger children, they want to come to temple. It's such a huge part of our life. It's always been a part of our lives growing up, and I don't want that to get lost. It's the fact that it's in Kingsbury is central to so much of our community, and I really want it to become a focal point for all of them.
Tell me about young children and the kind of curiosity that they may have, and all of you are second generation immigrants, so you're born here. In terms of teaching or telling your kids about Indian culture, this is is it easy? Is it difficult?
It's actually really difficult. I mean, Nahari and I have got children the same age, and it's really difficult to instill Indian values and Indian culture and Indian ways into them.
But why is that? Because I mean, you heard everything that you heard about India through first-generation immigrants, so they were kind of the real thing. I mean, you know, I'm joking. Correct me if I'm wrong.
My grandfather's taught me everything,
Yeah.
so it's. And I hold that very dear to me,
Yeah.
but it's really hard to
Relay that message
relay
to.
that same message to them in the same way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Continue.
okay, it's really hard for them to even understand that message.
Yeah.
All of their friends are, a lot of their friends are not Indian.
Yeah.
They're in schools where it's, you know, not cool to be.
Yeah.
And it's just getting harder and harder. So I'm really hoping that this will remind them that, you know, to be proud of what we are, to be proud of to be proud of being Indian.
Tell me about that. I mean, you spoke about, you know, for a lot of kids, all, you know, especially kind of third generation immigrants, you know, adjusting to this idea of, you know, their Indian roots and Indian values and all of that. And you said something like it's not cool for them, or, you know, reflect for me a bit more about that.
I'm not sure.
Why don't I? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, London is a metropolitan society. I
Yeah.
think anywhere in the world you have such a diverse range of communities and cultures. Being second generation immigrants,
Yeah.
our parents have brought us up the best they can.
Yeah.
A lot of them came to the UK with very little.
Correct.
We've had a privileged life in comparison with schooling and education.
You were telling me that you know, there were times when, you know, your community, the community that come from,
Yeah.
actually used to pray in a small little room.
That's right, yeah.
And look at this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's testament, I think, to also the communities.
I think very much to our forefathers, and
Yeah.
with much gratitude to them. They
Yeah.
came to the UK 50 years this year
Yeah.
and settled with sharing houses. They congregated in small rooms in Kentish Town.
Yeah.
We then moved to a smaller site in Hendon. We went to Golders Green. And as our community has grown and flourished,
Yeah.
it's needed a magnificent temple like this to provide our children with a future where they can learn our cultural, our heritage, everything that's to do with Indian,
Yeah.
but still contribute to the British way of life.
Okay. Okay. Do you have children?
I have 2 children.
Well, how easy is it to teach them about Indian gods and Indian culture and Indian roots? And tell me, what to you is the real sort of challenge in teaching them about?
Yeah, I think, you know, when we were brought up to acknowledge and accept what our forefathers were telling us.
Yeah.
Children these days question absolutely everything. My daughter's 8 years old.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago looking at the idols and looking at Sri Ganesham Maharaj
Yeah.
and saying, Ganesham Maharaj is white, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I was scratching my head thinking, why does she think he's white? The idol's made from white marble.
Yeah.
So they question absolutely everything, and we have to be quite novel in the way in which we give responses to them.
What was your response to this particular question?
Well, I had to explain to her the value of marble, and it's such a precious stone,
Yeah.
and therefore
Is it resolved in your household
It's
whether
resolved, but I had
he's
to-
white or non-white?
I had to go and scour the internet to find some graphical photography to prove to her.
Okay. Well, what about yourself? I mean, you know, apart from you know, we spoke about all the kind of, you know, the eco aspect of this temple, and, you know, places where, you know, it's a place where you found your spouse and all of that. Just a closing thought on, you know, passing this on to your kids. And apart from just the temple, there are lots of other activities that also happen at the temple. Tell me a bit more about that.
I'd actually like to start off with a quote from Acharya Swami Sri Maharaj. One of the things that he's taught us is that if we sustain the earth will sustain us.
Yeah.
So that kind of ranges from the kind of environmental credentials, but also building a youth for our future. And that's what we plan to do. So we don't just engage them in kind of religious activities, but it ranges from life skills.
Yeah.
And that's why I come to temple. I come to temple to improve myself, improve how I approach life, kind of take some of the morals and the ethics that we're learning and apply them to everyday life. And I think
And there's sports as well?
absolutely. So I play football and netball, and it's great because I can come here, I can engage with people that I worship with. I also have a life outside of temple with them. So my best friends, my husband, all of my real dear close friends I've met at the temple, and I think it's a really valuable thing.
Fantastic. So, what's that?
That's exactly what I'm hoping that our children growing up will enjoy as well.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, anytime if you have to sort of tell your kids about Indian gods, whether you want to discuss with them whether they're white or non-white, or you want to just come here for a few minutes of reflection. Here we are standing right outside the Sri Swaminarayan Temple in Kingsbury, but also you can come here for other activities like finding a spouse or just having fun, hanging out with the community.